Hi all, Brad Wright from singlemalt.com.au here. This month, something a little unusual, a non-peated Islay whiskey. Yep, I know that sounded a bit weird, but it's true, trust me, a non-peated Islay. Bunnahabhain, the distillery it's from, a bit unusual in that it's the only Islay distillery who specialises in non-peated whiskies. I've heard it said that the further south you go in Islay, the more heavily peated the whiskey. Whether this is true or not, I'm not convinced. Although, in this case, Bunnahabhain being the most northerly of the Islay distilleries, completely unpeated, I guess it sets the tone for as you go south, it gets more and more peated. Like I said, I'm not sure if that's true or not. The Bunnahabhain distillery set up in 1881 and came to full production in 1883. Unlike so many other distilleries, it's almost noticeable in its lack of sort of clandestine tales of illicit stills and bootlegging and other general such shenanigans, in that it was completely planned from the ground up as a corporate exercise. The Islay Distilling Company in 1880 or so decided that they wanted to build a distillery in response to the ongoing whisky boom that was happening at about that time in the Victorian era. Lots of big things happening in Scottish whisky at that stage, and once again, the Islay Distilling Company decided to jump on board, get a distillery going, and I guess join the whisky industry. When it was first built, it was accessible only by sea. So the main products had to come in from the mainland or wherever, came into Port Charlotte and in Islay, and then was distributed by even smaller merchant vessels that came around and supplied the distillery by boat. The whole town of Bunnahabhain is actually planned town. It was made by the Islay Distilling Company. In order to service the factory, to house the workers. There was a school built, all that sort of stuff. And it wasn't until 1960 that a road to the town and the distillery was built that would enable you to get there from other parts of Islay by car. Up until then, it was isolated. You had to come by small merchant ship. And all of the products had to go out the same way. 1960, the road to it was built, so not that long ago. This is part of the new Gordon MacPhail's Discovery range. They're doing 3 main flavour profiles in this range, trying to highlight smoky, bourbon, and sherry. And this one falls in the sherry category. It's a whole new range, as I said, all new packaging. Have a look. Beautiful, nice tubes, really nicely printed bottles. You'll notice this bottle is half empty. Dad came over the other night and we decided to try a dram of it, and we discovered it fairly quickly evaporates once the cork is open. So take care, be aware of that. But as you can see, for a sherry whiskey, it's got that darker sort of golden amber sort of colour we like. Honestly, I thought it would be a bit darker than this, trying to put that whole sherry idea forward, but it's certainly, it's unmistakable. It's a nice sort of amber hue, but more important than the packaging and the colour even, I think, is how it tastes. So let's have a bit of a taste. Now, as I've said, this has been bottled specifically to give a highlight of what a sherry whiskey, a sherry finished whiskey is, I guess. So here we go. So it's got everything you'd be expecting from a big sherry bomb. There's your dry fruit, your prunes, your sort of jam on the nose. No peat, no sense of smoke. Just that sherry goodness. Oh, it's delightful. On the mouth, more of the same. It's just, it's stewed fruit. There's a tiny bit of salt in there, I would imagine, that sort of seaside influence. Touch of that iodine, sort of kelpy sort of flavour, but right around the edges. Other than that, this is just a sherry bomb. It's delightful. Stewed fruits, Christmas pudding, plum pudding. Bit of chocolate there. Just all those sort of flavours we normally associate with sherry. There's no big surprises here. It's just a delightful whiskey. At 43%, great flavour. Interestingly enough, from my bit of research over the last couple of days, all of the Bunnahabhains that Gordon MacPhail bottle are at 43%. So I don't know if they think they've cracked the code or what it is, but it certainly doesn't lack for flavour. It doesn't lack for mouthfeel. The finish is a real... There's a spice that starts as soon as it hits the palate, and that just slowly builds at the back of the tongue and really sort of complements the sweetness, I think. Beautiful, beautiful. Yep. Caramel there, toffee. There is chocolate, but that real fruity, sweet sherry style, I guess, is the best way to put it. But it's delicious. I hope you enjoy it. An unusual one, a non-peated Islay. Who'd have thunk it? Until next month, Slange of R.